We're joined with head volleyball coach Greg Walker for our first episode of Brewin with the Bears, sponsored by Shelburne Falls. Coach, thanks for joining us, and why don't you tell us your coffee order today?
Well, this morning I have this delicious vanilla cafe macchiato, so I'm pretty thrilled about it. Yeah, take a little test.
Take a sip?
That's great.
All right,
Great.
Let's get into volleyball.
All right.
Let's talk about how you got into coaching volleyball. You've been some part of big name programs. Just how you got your start.
How I got my start. Well, I got into volleyball, played in high school, and that was not in the cards when I left high school. I actually was going to pursue a bunch of different things. I think I was pretty undecided. I knew I liked teaching, but that came in a bunch of variety of different job occupations I wanted to go for. And my first couple years in college, I was able to coach the local high school, and that was kind of the hook and sinker that got me, was being able to see improvement, fast improvement over time, and to be able to see quick results, and everything just kind of piled. So went from that, and then it was my junior year. I was in spring practice, and when the coach at Penn State had just in passing said a couple of things about, if I considered coaching as a job opportunity, and I never actually did. And after that, I kind of became in love with that idea. So I changed everything to pursue that, and then just some off-the-cuff advice as well was, being able to find really great mentors. And I was really lucky that at that time, I feel like I hit the sweet spot where people that I was seeking out were a bunch of Hall of Famers. So that was I think it was such a privilege to have that opportunity and to be able to have those people where they were truly helpful. And really set me up for success.
Awesome. You got hired here in 2020. Why don't you tell us what made that decision to come to Smith from across the country, and kind of a unique introduction to Smith and what that was like? Yeah,
COVID was totally after the fact, so it was right before it. We unexpectedly had some family changes. Father-in-law had passed away, and my wife and I kind of decided that it was either stay on the West Coast and start a family with our newborn at the time, or move back. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, my wife's from Delaware, so getting back was, and we were already super familiar with the East Coast since we were there previously before the West Coast, and so we made the move to come back. But Smith, it was interesting because at the time, Smith was the only Division III school that even was on my radar. Just had a long-time mentor recommend it and check it out, and I'd reached out to Kristen, and in a very short amount of time she reached back out and set everything up. So it was really great because at the time, I was making a decision on some career changes, just where institution I'd be, and the timing couldn't have been better. The community and being able to get on campus was just really refreshing for me.
Right. And then you've completely turned around this program when you started to now last year, being an NCAA tournament team. Can you tell us what that process was like of getting your recruits in here, building your team culture, and then now, making this a winning program?
Yeah. For me, it was this technically would have been one of the 7th programs that I was able to have some pretty significant impact from, just getting from whatever function the program was when I showed up on a campus to getting it to be pretty successful. And so here it had all the infrastructure in place, and it was really about our staff just getting in a good alignment on what does a top academic school recruit look like, what are the clubs that we need to go after, and then finding the right people. It was everything from finding the right people on our staff to finding the right people in the recruiting, and starting early in the recruiting to be able to talk about all the great things that this institution has to offer. So it was just getting everybody on board with what we can be versus what had been in the recent past. So that was, I think, the big change, is that just that vision and being able to push for it, and then finding people that believed in it.
That moment you won the New Mac Championship last year, talk us through that game a bit, and then just the feeling at the end knocking off MIT, who was previously undefeated.
Yeah, I think anytime you can, we're so fortunate to compete in one of the toughest conferences in the country, and I think that was the biggest thing that I like from just previous stops is I love the challenge that every night you have to play well. And we had to go through a team that we had not beaten during my time here in a semifinal to get through it, and they had set point and match point, and to be able to battle back to take it into a fifth set overtime was pretty cool. And just seeing our team really accept that responsibility about process, and we're just going to go after things, and then having the opportunity to take away MIT's undefeated season at the end, and arguably one of their best seasons. To be able to have that win at the end was really great for this group and for my first graduating recruiting class. It just couldn't have been any better. I think just the grit that it took and the resilience to be able to push through like years of getting to that point was a really cool summit at the end for our conference play.
Right. And then now looking at this season, you return All-American Abby Hunt to go with Mia Etheridge, Ruth Tullis, and then your middles, Miranda and Anna. How important is that experience returning to the lineup?
So important. I mean, we built a roster initially so that we got to, hopefully around this point, we'd still have a couple years out of people and like just that experience to carry over, and being able to return a really seasoned group that's been chipping out for a while now is pretty cool. They've been a part of some really big, pivotal, milestones here at Smith. So they've very much understood culture and how we do things, and so being able to return that's amazing. And to be able to know that we're going to have even more impact players in this year as well, and then they're going to be returning. It's just it's really exciting, and we're really stoked about what is ahead for this group.
Right. And then newcomers this season, you have a transfer, Sky.
Yeah, Sky.
And then she's only a sophomore, so like you said, you have her for 3 years. What does she bring to the team? And then just any other newcomers that you wanna highlight?
Yeah, what I love about Sky is that I joked with our previous setter about how when we played Bates last year, I was just happy that we had a few more terminal hitters because we would have been in trouble. And her ability to compete at a high level from where she comes from in Hawaii, and the program she came from, and just the pedigree of athlete she has is pretty cool. And she's already doing pretty gnarly stuff in our gym. But what I love is she raises the competition level, and she is fit seamlessly into what we do culturally, how we do want to run things, and she's what I love is she was really attracted to being a part of this program, and being fully integrated in that. And but even in her position, we have a returner, we have Ruby, and we have Hannah, who just came in as a first year as well, and the level of setting that we have right now in our gym on both sides of the net consistently is pretty incredible, and they all have really attached onto that. And so just the level of play going up. I'm really, really excited about this first year class. They've instantly been able to have an impact, with our program, in raising our just the competitive level every step of the way. So pretty excited about all of it. And then our returners, they've gotten better, and I just think I truly think that this is a pretty the sky's the limit group. I mean, there's a lot of things that, and they're playing. Outside of our wonderful last weekend of learning and growth, we've overcome some injuries here, and so we're pretty excited about just how well they're playing now in the preseason. So
right. And then looking at this schedule, last year you really started loading that with some NESCATs, top-ranked teams in NYU, Ithaca. How will those early matches really benefit you for later in October and November?
Yeah. Best part is that the NCAA moved over to similar Division I with an RPI system, and Division III is MPI, and so for us, we have to see good competition throughout the entire year. So pretty excited about. We have a great partnership with the the staff at Ithaca and NYU, and being able to see them, hopefully annually. And then, being able to get some other like top-ranked teams that are really interested in adding us to their schedule, and see the value in playing our team. So I'm excited. It's a good test. We'll be able to kind of see where we stand during different moments of the year. And then playing in our conference is pretty tough. So like we get to see the teams like Springfield, Babson, MIT, like throughout the remainder of our conference season. So it'll be good to see some hard tests early on here.
And then in addition to Smith, you're also the head coach of the U.S. men's sitting national team. How did you get involved with USA Volleyball?
USA Volleyball, my first assignment was in my undergrad, and I pumped volleyballs at a practice. And I failed miserably. I overinflated them, and then I got in trouble, so I deflated them, and then it was just not a happy medium. But I got started with that. I had a mentor that was already involved in the national team system, and just had recommended me for just different things. And I took every job opportunity I could and got in it. I made some really good mentors and friends throughout it, and I worked my way up through the coaching education, which I thought was really important. And I met our program director at the time, and he just pulled me in because I was coaching men's volleyball at the time. Mm-hmm. So he was like, "Would you like to come work with our men's sitting volleyball team?" And it was just really intriguing, and it was an opportunity to learn something different. It was an opportunity to look at the game differently, to see it differently. It was also a different way to be able to inclusively look at different skills of athletes and their abilities. And I think that for me was the key to everything else I do, is that the perspective and the view that I have now when I am trying to help our athletes, or when I'm looking at where they can get better and grow holistically. Truly being able to work with a Paralympic team in adaptive sports has really changed my perspective on how I approach a lot of my stuff. But yeah, and then got involved in 2013, and from 2013 on, it's rest is kind of history with that. So.
Right. And then what are some of your favorite memories with USA Volleyball?
A bunch. I mean, I think I've gotten close to 37 countries with both indoor, our men's national team, and sitting. I think there's been awesome countries with indoor. I've gotten to be go for a couple years worth of VNLs, and can travel countries like Bulgaria, and then with sitting, I've gotten to go everywhere from China, and had a cool trip in, I think it was 2018, to Iran. Mm-hmm. And that's not a country that typically people are going into for vacation. So right. It was cool to be able to have the experience, to be able to see it firsthand for sport, and then just getting to go everywhere. It's been really cool and eye-opening, because it gives me such a perspective on culture and just the way that the world works, and people from other regions. So.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to covering you and your team this season. Thanks so much for joining us, and go Bears!
Go Bears!